Hello YouTube, today we're going to be doing some more Pokemon battles. This is what I thought I would be saying today after the last video, at least when I first initially recorded it. But instead we're actually going to be doing an analysis of the team we last used with Spectrier and Primarina. So, first of all, why are we making this video? Well, basically, I lost a lot of my next battles. I thought I could have gone into Master Ball even if I just like lost one or two more times, but would have gotten in just like 3 or 4 more battles. But that's not what happened. I ended up like losing, and it's not like I don't mind like showcasing like some of my losses because I think you can learn from those. But the thing is, like, it took a long time for me to get into Masters. I eventually did in like the same day, but it took a lot of battles, so I just like didn't really know like when to like start, because then there would have been like some gaps. I didn't know if I just wanted to showcase like just some of like the better games, but it was taking a while. I didn't even know if I was going to get into Masters that day. But pretty much like I lost a lot of battles, and I thought this would actually be like a good chance to like make an analysis video because I did record a lot of footage. So this is all a good opportunity, learning about team building as well, and like what I usually do when I feel like I'm kind of stuck with a team and how to improve in ranked. So even if the team itself isn't something you might really care about, this is actually a really good video to watch to just kind of like learn or like get into like the mind of someone who likes team build and like what they do, or at least like what would I do when I'm team building or like testing out a team. So let's go ahead and look at the team itself. We have the team right here. So I can't really explain, like give like a very good reason on like why these Pokemons like have these moves and like items. Like some of them are just good items for the Pokemon, and then like, you know, the usual common moves and stuff. Some just a little bit different. But like the big reason for this team was I just really wanted to reuse my Primarina again. I used it in previous series, in Series 6 and Series 5. So I wanted to use it in Series 7. I didn't use it before in Series 7, so I just really wanted to like bring it back and see if I could get into Masters with it. I also wanted to use Spectrier because I thought it was a cool Pokemon. I actually like the Ghost Horse more than the Ice Horse. But I never really like made like teams with it. And then, you know, if you've seen one of my previous videos that I posted about Pokemon, I talked about why Landorus is so good. I thought it'd be cool to just like have Landorus on the team as well. This team actually worked out really well in Showdown when I first made it. Like I just randomly made it. I was working real well. I got wins, and I thought I was like, whoa, maybe I ended up making like some really good team. But really, it was a very small sample size. Like I only did play a few games. I was like playing better people than I usually do in Showdown, so I thought, oh, maybe this is the team. But sometimes you might just get some lucky wins, or maybe, like I said, it's a small sample size. Sometimes like maybe I just had to play like a little bit more, and then I would have realized the flaws of the team before playing in-game. But it's okay. You know, the team's still fun, at least for me, but there's still a lot of flaws. So let's go ahead and look into the flaws of this team. So, first thing is, there are good Pokemon on this team, but there's no real synergy. For example, like they could work well together, but Landorus, a very strong Pokemon, it can't even use Earthquake without hurting most of the team, because most of the team doesn't even have Protect. Only Indeedee and Clefairy have Protect, so none of the offensive Mons like have Protect. I don't have Landorus with another Pokemon where I could go ahead and use Earthquake with the Choice Scarf, and like my other Pokemon like doesn't have to Protect. It can just like not get affected by Earthquake because it's a flying type, or has Levitate. But there's like no synergy there, and I realized there was a lot of times where I didn't want to use Earthquake because I couldn't, or else I would like kind of risk hurting my other Pokemon. At the same time, this team has double redirection. I'm not saying that's exactly bad, it's just probably like not needed. I thought it was kind of cool though, double redirection, because it was there were some matches where it'd be like, oh, you got rid of my redirection user, here's my second redirection user, and now my other Pokemon will like still keep kicking butt and stuff. But you know, that's not exactly something I really needed. It was just kind of there. I just thought it was cool. I thought maybe instead of having 2 redirection users, maybe I could have another type of support, maybe some speed control, Trick Room, Tailwind. Tailwind would actually be a pretty nice one for this team, in my opinion. So this team has a lot of power, but not much else. You know, there's no like combination. We don't have some Trick Room setup. We don't have Sun setup like a Torkoal or Venusaur, which I've done before in a previous team I made. We don't really have any of that. We just have like a lot of like solo power, and if I'm kind of lucky, in my opinion, I thought I'd be fine, but if another team has like better synergy, usually they would beat mine. At the same time, this team relied a lot on RNG, and as much as some people might hate like, oh man, this person only beat me because they got a crit at the very end, honestly, I would rather be in the situation where it's my opponent who has to rely on a crit for a victory. It's really cool when you yourself get a crit, you know, to get the victory, but it kind of sucks sometimes when there are too many times where you're like, oh man, I could win this game as long as I crit, or maybe my rock slide flinches, like I hope they just flinch. It's like, it's kind of a funny joke, like, yeah, I'm good, I'll just make you flinch, but at the same time, it's like relying on that RNG to be like a big reason for you to win most of your battles, like consistently you're relying on RNG. I personally don't feel like that's like the best thing to see in a team. You know, if my best way of stopping Trick Room every time is just, man, I hope I could just make them flinch. Like, I feel like I should be looking for other ways to stop Trick Room while I'm team building. So, what were the teams we lost to? We lost to teams with better synergy. Like I said, Trick Room was pretty hard to stop. Just other speed control, I didn't really have anything to stop Tailwind. I did have Taunt on my Spectrier, but I wasn't really like the greatest thing. It was just like one taunt. There's like a lot of ways to stop a taunt, or if that's like my only way of stopping Trick Room or Tailwind. Teams with multiple leads. I found teams like Wolfie's team, Wolfie's Player Cup 2 team. A team with like a lot of good synergy. You could lead with Colossal and Dragapult, or you could lead with Colossal and Urshifu, or you could just lead like with something else on the team. When other teams like made it a bit harder for me to figure out what they're leading with, I found those really hard to beat. I made teams before that are like just, they don't really have like its own team synergy, but just more focused on kind of just adapting to the enemy team, the opponent's team. It gets really hard when you have a team where it's like you have multiple like multiple strategies, multiple team synergies. I find those teams really good and really fun because it's kind of like, oh, like you don't know what I'm going to be going for. For example, like Sun Room, you could be going for Trick Room, or you could just be going for Sun with Torkoal and Venusaur. The fact that like this team found it kind of hard where it's like, oh, I just have to hope I get the lead right, because if I get it wrong, then I could just be like messed up, which is why I think it's always really good to have like good team synergy for yourself, because maybe if you don't know what setup your opponent's going to do, maybe you should just like stick with your own setup. And the biggest thing I found this team losing to was Rillaboom. Grass in general, but Rillaboom, you know, that's the Pokemon that's going to be the Primarina the most, and I really wanted to use Primarina, and when I made this team, I didn't even build around Primarina. I just put the Primarina in and just put other cool Pokemon that I like. So, like, we didn't really have anything for Grass. Landorus was, like, kind of nice if I Dynamaxed it, I guess, for a max Airstream on Rillaboom, and we can Intimidate it, but other than that, Primarina kind of got wrecked, and there were a lot of times where I was thinking about not using Primarina, just because Rillaboom was there, but at the same time, Primarina was a good Pokemon for all the other Mons on the team, on the opponent's team. So I still kind of like felt like I had to bring in Primarina and just try my best to like keep it safe from Rillaboom, and unfortunately, I didn't really have the best team for that. One thing that was nice though is even though Rillaboom like would always get Grassy Train up, it was nice to have like terrain control from time to time because of our Indeedee. So we would be able to stop like Rillaboom fake out or just fake outs from anyone else really. So what's next? So usually in this situation, I would start thinking about what would I want to do with my team, you know? So we look at like the flaws that we just talked about, what type of teams did we lose to, and I would try to build around that. Like I would probably find a way to build around countering Rillaboom on my team, like a better way to counter it. In this situation though, I didn't. I was like, I'm gonna stick with this team and just stick with what I chose until we reach Master Ball. So that's why it took a while to get into Masters, because I wasn't like making any adjustments. So I just kept recording footage, and there was like wins, there was losses, there was wins, there was losses. I actually didn't record the final match where I got into Masters. It's kind of funny because I was recording a lot of footage. I was taking up space, and I didn't want to record too much. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just wait to see until I'm at like the match where it looks like I could possibly get into Masters right after. And it was a very close match. It was like my Primarina and Spectre Air versus someone else's Primarina and Porygon 2. It was very close. It came down to like my Primarina versus their Primarina, but I snarled their Primarina a lot, so my Primarina was able to win in the end. I've done that many times in Series 6. So I was very happy, and then all of a sudden I got into Master Ball, and I was just like, oh, what the heck? Like, I thought to win like 2 more at least, not just 1, because like the bar was like still halfway. But yeah, like I got in, and I was just like, man, I can't record that. But it was still really cool. But yeah, I wouldn't really like stick with that team if I wasn't like doing all the recordings. I probably would have like edited the team earlier. Like I would have stopped playing for a bit, try and see what else I could do to fix up the team. Of course, I don't think that just because you like lose some Pokemon battles, you should automatically like, if you lose like 2 battles, don't be like, oh man, I gotta change up the team already. Sometimes you gotta just like learn how to use the team first. But like I played a good amount of matches where I was at a point where I could probably like go ahead and edit the team a bit, and I didn't. But you know, in the end, I was still able to get into Masters, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, you know, I would have probably gotten rid of one of the redirection users, either Clefairy or Indeedee, depending on what I think, depending on like which one I thought I needed more. I would have probably found a way to counter Rillaboom at least a bit more consistently. But of course, like I would also, you know, just focus on making better plays. I would have like, because I was recording actually, if I was okay like fixing the team, I would have just watched the VOD, see, look for my misplays, see what else I could have done better. Because even though I didn't think the team was that great and it had a lot of flaws, there were a lot of misplays I made. So, pros of using this team, at least for me. 1, we got to analyze the flaws of when you kind of just like make a team or just rush a team. But, you know, pros, we got to make this video, so that's pretty cool. Another pro is I got to become more familiar with certain Pokemon. So like I said, I never really used Spectre Air or Landorus that much. So it was kind of just nice to like learn how to use them and learn which Pokemon they work well with, which Pokemon they don't work well with. That was very nice. That's why I do think it is nice to like do rental teams from time to time, just so you can learn like how other Pokemon are that maybe you don't use. I like never built a Porygon Z team in Series 6, but then I rented one, so like I at least got to understand like what it's like using it, even though I never built one myself. Other pros, like I said, seeing misplays was very nice. I think seeing misplays on a more flawed team is nicer in my opinion, because usually when you make misplays on a not as good team, you kind of see like how severe it is to your team and like how much it can affect you, like whether you win or lose. Because sometimes on really good teams, even if you make a misplay, the team might be so good that you might still win, so you might not even realize it, like it was like that bad of a misplay. But on like a flawed team, I feel like it's a lot easier to see misplays and like how they can affect the whole match. At the same time, I also gained confidence. So even though like as I was playing with this team, I started understanding the team more. I started seeing these flaws of the team. And the fact that I wasn't changing it, like the fact that I knew a Rillaboom would like super beat my team, but I would still like find a way to like play around it, I thought that was very good. And I think that was like a reason why I was still able to get into Masters. Like for me, like it kind of made me happy to see that like I've gotten a lot better at this game, where even when I know what's wrong with my own team. Like I could find a way to just like play real well, and like get that win. So my closing thoughts for this team. I still think it's better to use a more constructed team, like a well-built team. I don't think you should be like me and like just, I mean, unless if you get really stubborn, you're just like, I just want to keep using this team until I get to masters. Like, it's possible, but it probably is better to like go ahead and like edit the team a bit more once you see like a decent amount of flaws. But you know, either way, you could still like learn more. But I do feel like it is, in the long run, better to learn using like a better built team. Also, it's still very fun to play with your favorite Pokemon. I enjoyed these matches a bit more just because of the fact I got to use Primarina, I got to use Spectrair, who I thought was really cool. I enjoyed using my Sunroom team before, where I got to use like Cresselia, but like it's always like fun to use like Pokemon you like, even even like if it may not be the best Pokemon to use. I feel like just being able to use like your favorite Pokemon is always really cool. But of course, if you are trying to like really like rank up, sometimes you may have to like say goodbye to your favorite Pokemon for a bit. In my Sunroom team, I really liked using Cresselia, but it probably would have been better for me to use Dusclops. So like, but then I don't want to use Dusclops. Like that's the thing. So like I want to use my favorite Pokemon. So like, you know, I've had situations, but it all really depends on like your goal. Like if your goal is just to like have fun with your favorite Pokemon, it's possible. But if your goal is to like really rank up, get better, sometimes you gotta say goodbye to your favorite just for a little bit. In a future team I'm making, I think I will be saying goodbye to Primarina. I think Tapu Fini will be the one I will end up using later on. But of course, if I ever find a situation where I feel like Primarina is probably a better fit here than Tapu Fini, you know, I'd be very happy to like go ahead and use Primarina again. And you know, other final closing thoughts, I do like all the mons I used on this team. This team is really weird. Like I don't know if I ever really want to go back to it if I see all these flaws that I've talked about, but it's a very fun team. I want to use them more in the future, but of course, like, you know, maybe with some other Pokemon. I really do want to use Spectrair a bit more, but a bit differently than I built it on this team. A different item. I've already looked at like how other people have been using their Spectrair, and it looks really cool. Like I've found some super cool things. But yeah, that's my analysis on my team. I know I didn't go like too in depth for certain things about the actual team itself, but this video, like I said, is kind of an example of how I look at like my teams when I'm playing. Okay, what do I do after I see the flaws, and what I do, yeah, like kind of just what I do like after that. But if you enjoy this video, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.